History has testified that God never abandons his people. For the crises of our days, God sent us his beloved mother in Fatima in 1917, desiring to establish a devotion to her Immaculate Heart. Why? Because the Heart of Mary is our only esteemed hope.
What time has been more tormented by spiritual emptiness and deep inner abandonment than ours? Despite all the technical and purely civil progress, as man once again realizes his inability to confront the key events of history, relying on his own resources, today's ailing world shows increasing signs of turmoil. This is not the first time humanity has faced serious challenges, nor will it be the last. An increasing number of scientific studies offering terrifying predictions, meteorites, pandemics, or climatic disasters at a scale capable of wiping man off the face of the earth at any moment. And yet, history continues. Perhaps we must, with deep regret, admit the prevailing lack of faith in our days. In what time has it been more necessary than ours to make known the unimaginable riches of Christ and His Church? What more noble, certain, and quicker way exists than Mary Most Holy? Mary is truly admirable in all her perfections and in all her virtues. But what is most admirable in her is her virginal heart. The purest body of Mary is a sacred temple, the most august temple that ever was and ever will be, preceded only by the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ, her Divine Son. We see her virginal heart as the sacred altar of this temple. We behold divine love as the high priest offering to God unending sacrifices. The sacrifice is consumed and transformed into the heavenly fire which burns upon the altar of her heart, which is immolated to the Most Holy Trinity in a sacrifice of praise, of glory, and of love. The heart of the Mother of God is a world of marvels, an abyss of wonders, the source and principle of all the virtues. Her heart is a vast sea of grace, a measureless ocean of perfections, an immense furnace of love. It was through the humility, purity, and love of a most holy heart that she merited to become the Mother of God and to receive the graces and privileges with which God enriched her on earth. It was by the force of love and humility that Mary attracted the well-beloved Son of God, the heart of the Eternal Father, to be the heart of her heart. These same sublime virtues of her Immaculate Heart have rendered her worthy of the glory and happiness that surrounds her in heaven, and of the great marvels that God has wrought in her and through her. It is this heart which has loved and glorified God above all the hearts of angels and men, and therefore can never be revered enough. The luminous heart of Mary, seat of wisdom, was so filled with radiance that she possessed infused knowledge of every science, and in a much more eminent degree than all the learned minds that ever existed. This vast knowledge of the Blessed Virgin Mary was dedicated to a most holy use, employed only to urge her to love God with greater ardor, to procure the salvation of souls with greater fervor, to hate sin more vigorously, to humble herself more profoundly, to despise still further everything that the world esteems, and to prize and embrace with greater affection the things it detests, namely poverty, abjections, and suffering. Such was the knowledge of the admirable heart of Mary. Jesus lives in her soul and in her body, and in each faculty of her body and soul. He lives in her entirely, which means that whatever is in Jesus is also in Mary. His heart abides in her heart, his soul in her soul, his spirit in her spirit. What honor is due to such great and admirable wonders? What veneration should be shown to the heart of Mary? It was through Mary that Jesus came to us. Likewise, it is through the heart of Mary that the heart of Jesus will come to us. So also, it will be through the reign of the heart of the Mother that the reign of the heart of the Son will come into the world. Christ is not truly known until his heart is known. The heart of Jesus is the best viewpoint of the Saviour. It is the key to the mystery of all his mercies, the inexhaustible abyss of all his inventions of love. Similarly, Mary Most Holy will only be known, loved, and will reign fully in souls when her Immaculate Heart is intimately known. The fount of mercy that she pours out to individuals, to humanity, and the Church is certainly her Immaculate Heart.
At the foot of the cross, Before the consummation of his sacrifice, the Sacred Heart of Jesus gave us a heart most similar to his. Therefore, he who does not know Mary knows not the Sacred Heart of Jesus. He who does not love Mary does not love his heart. In her heart lies the reason for all her goodness to men. It is the strength that attracts us when we come to her, and the balm that comforts us when we implore her, that which grants us the certainty of being helped. It is because of this same sweet and loving heart that the Holy Church, in the hours of trouble, recommends us to implore this heart, sure that we will always obtain help. Heart of Mary, my hope, was the motto of the famous John Sobieski, King of Poland, who in the difficult trances of his life and reign would draw encouragement from the Immaculate Heart of Mary. With this war cry, Cor Mariae Spes Mea, Heart of Mary, my hope, resonating in his soul and inebriating his heart, he hurled himself against the invaders in the year 1683, and soon afterward heroically freed the city of Vienna from the tight siege of the enemy. Heart of Mary, our hope, is the battle cry with which we must summon all souls of goodwill from all the corners of the earth, under the protection of the Queen of Heaven, to march to the task of finally freeing poor humanity from the terrible iron sieges that are trying to annihilate it. It is through the heart of Mary that we will make the heart of Jesus triumph. In 1917, at Fatima, Our Lady revealed to the 3 shepherd children the plight of many poor sinners who were cast down into hell. Thus, it was the divine will of God that desired to establish the devotion to her Immaculate Heart for the salvation of sinners. Her compassionate heart will be our refuge during the terrible chastisement, the manifestation of God's wrath. The Church, during devastating calamities and in private supplications, has always appealed to Mary so that she may come benevolently to their aid, obtaining for them relief and remedy from the evils of body and soul. And never was her most powerful help expected in vain by those who pray confidently and piously to her. Therefore, in the difficult hours in which we live today, all our hopes of salvation, triumph, and peace are placed in this ark of salvation. As in the end, her wise and immaculate heart will triumph.
If you like this video, please click the like button and share it with your friends and family. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and leave your comment below. Hope to see you in the next video. Salve Maria.